All right, class. So we're gonna make a Lego keychain, more of a best friend keychain here. That if we duplicate it, as you can see, if we look at kind of the whole thing here, we're gonna duplicate it. You can see underneath this Lego best friend keychain, they should connect into two different ones. So let me give you the second one here. You can see they're gonna line up over each other, and they'll make a heart of sorts. So like one of those best friend, the two parts come together and form something, right? So you can have one and you can give it to a friend. To make this keychain, let's go ahead and hide this one. Move this one up a little bit. We're going to start with a cube and then add a cylinder. Or if you want, you can do the half cylinder. I personally like this cylinder. Bring the sides up to 64 to make it smooth. Align these two so that this is kind of in the center there. And you can use the align tool to make sure they're centered. I'm going to go to real small jumps here, make sure they're centered on that side. That's looking good. So I'm going to group those two for now so that I can size them and stuff together. I'm going to take this thing down to about 5. We might go even smaller later, but for now, let's call it 4. Next, um, I know this one's bigger, but you can resize it later if you want to. Next piece, we need the 4 Lego dots here. To make that, we're going to take out another cylinder, and we will pump that up again to smooth. We're going to make these 6 by 6. And for now, we will take them and make them 6 tall, I'd say. You may decide to do more or less later. These come in. We're going to, important here is that we get the spacing right. So I am going to ungroup this for a second to kind of get these all centered and stuff like that. And I'm going to duplicate this and bring a second one over. All right, so now I'm going to pay attention to the two of them combined. We know this shape. Remember, I have the ruler tool on. If you're not putting the ruler tool on things, I'd recommend it. We're actually going to snug this ruler tool right up here on the corner. Might not be perfect, but we're going to use it closely here. Maybe from the top we can tell even better how we did. So we could check the red one here. It should be like, we want this red one and this one to be lined up right at 0. And I can't see the other one. There it is. And 0. So that one's right in the corner. This will help us measure. Now, we want these two guys here. Notice together they make 15.6. We have 20 total. This guy is 3.2 away from the side. I believe, if we want to balance these across 20 and these are each 6, that leaves us 12 space, right? So we're going to move this one over to 2 away, and we're going to put it 2 away from the bottom also. Okay, oops, that missed. Still 2.9. We're going to put it 2 away from the bottom also, right there. And then we'll get same thing here. We want this guy then to be, do the math, 2 plus 6 plus another 6 plus the in between here. If we want that guy 2 away on the other side, that means 2 plus 6 is 8, right? So we want this one to start at 12, not 12.8. So bring it back to 12 and that 2. Why are we lining it up so carefully? This is to help us make sure that we fit into the back of this hole. Do you remember it? Let me flip this over to show you. If you know what I'm talking about, right here. Let me click. We want it to fit into the back of that hole, right? Carefully. So to do that, we're going to line these up carefully so that this border around here goes right. Now that we have these two, we're going to double check that they're aligned. They should be. Yes, they're aligned. And we're going to group them so we can work with both of them. And then duplicate it. And now we got a second set of them that we're going to put 2 from the end up here, correct? So that means pumping them up another 6 plus 2, 8, like pumping it up 12 like we did on the other one. Shouldn't need to mess with the sides because we moved it straight up. All right, now that we have those 4, we are ready to start working on the bottom, both this circle in the center and the hole around the outside. For now, I'm going to group all these. I might have to ungroup it in a bit. So we want to think about this center hole, another cylinder, right? And we want that hole to fit in there kind of snugly, right? So that this thing doesn't bounce around, but it has to fit. So it has to be smaller than these spaces. So you could take a measure between these two. And we can also do our math, right? We had 2, 6, 6 and 2. So we have 16. This means a space of 4 here, but the diagonal is going to be larger between these, right? And so we could do some math if we need to. I'm going to give you a shortcut because I've done this before. We want this one to be about 7.75, okay, for now. And that's to give it a little bit of space. There's probably about 8 in between. But for now, we're going to try about 7.75 in each direction. Why 7.75? You'd have to do the Pythagorean theorem for those of you in math classes. You will remember that one. And we're going to take this guy down to 4. And we're not going to group him yet, but we are going to center him. It's not looking right, is it? Might be a little on the big side. .75 is looking a little on the large side. Double check my measurements here. I have a physical one here. That's why I am doing those measurements. Oh yeah, maybe too big there. Let's see. 7.6. But the Pythagorean theorem on those diagonals of the square would be what would give you the measurement here. It's part of the reason it's not a perfect size either. And I'm going to ungroup for a second just to center this guy in the red square and align it here and here. That should be fitting snugly now and not touching any of them. We will double check. We might have to print. Sometimes the print comes out a little bit different sized. We're going to regroup here, everything but the center one. Missed something. Something didn't group here. What didn't group? All right, anyway, last step is to create this hole on the bottom. To do that, you've taken out a square here. We don't want it to go all the way through. We know our thickness is 4 and these heights are 2. So you can just make this guy slightly larger than 2, maybe about 2.5. Okay. Okay, so to finish up, I made a little square that's only 4 tall. That's smaller than the actual, it's 2.5 tall and 16.15 long. That gives us our little borders there, as you can see. And then we need to group that with just the red one and the circles. All 3 of those together. 1, 2, and the third one is the hole. And group that, and that should cut our shape. Do not see the third one coming through. I did not group the right things there, but that's the last step. Thank you, and enjoy the video.